Fantasy season don't usually end with one bad moment. They end with a series of bad decisions that eventually catches up. Missed signals, late reactions, and choices that didn't match what was actually happening on the football field. A lot of times you lose because fantasy exposed how you think under pressure. And I know that that's uncomfortable for a lot of people, but if your season ended earlier than you expected, this episode is going to tell you exactly why. I'm your host, they call me boss. This is Football is Money, and let's get straight to it. And let's have a real conversation. Look, fantasy football is not just a game. It's a decision simulator. Every week, it asks you the same question, but in different ways. Can you separate emotion from execution? And this past season answered that question for everybody. Some of y'all trusted names over usage. Some of us stayed loyal instead of staying sharp. And we all saw the same signs and ignored them, So fantasy didn't trick anybody. Fantasy shows us exactly who we are when it's time to decide. All right. And one thing you have to remember is fantasy doesn't punish effort. It punishes hesitation. It punishes ego. And it punishes loyalty. The best fantasy managers, they not smarter. They are faster at adjusting. They don't argue with the information. They just take it and move accordingly. So what exactly did this season teach us? Number one, the biggest lie fantasy told us this year was where you drafted somebody matters after October. It doesn't. Once the season starts, your draft is just history. Production is the only currency. Holding on to a name because of where you drafted them, that's how seasons die quietly. Truth be told. Number two, injuries aren't an excuse. It's a skill check. Because everybody deals with injuries. The difference is what you do next. Some managers panic. Some managers freeze. And some managers adapt. Waiver wire winners are not just lucky, they paying attention. 3, inconsistency is more dangerous than a bad game. Because one bad week won't kill you, but ignoring a trend will. Fantasy rewards pattern recognition, not hope. The moment you just start saying this guy is due for a breakout game, you already cooked. Straight up. Fantasy football showed us something bigger than stats this year. It showed us that preparation gets you in the door, but discipline is what keeps you alive. It showed us who checks usage, who tracks opportunity, and who just explains losses afterwards. Fantasy didn't humble you, it measured you. All right? And this is exactly why we're launching the Football is Money Fantasy Training League. It's not for my experts. This is for the people who actually want to understand what's happening before it happened. Beginners, casuals, intermediate players who are tired of just guessing. It's limited spots. We got real reps. It's real learning here. Nobody owes you a win. Nobody owes you anything, a breakout, and nobody's coming to save bad decisions. But if you're willing to stay sharp, to stay honest, and stay flexible, and give yourself a chance, sign up at footballismoney.com. This is Football is Money. We just took a glimpse into my fantasy life where we have one job, and that's make the right decision. I'm your host, they call me boss, and we out. Peace up, east sideways.